Hi guys, how are you all? This is FJ What If. Today we are going to discuss about what if Naruto was king of Shaman and had Spirit of Fire Part 2. Chapter 2. Getting started. Sarutobi Hiruzen, the Sandaime Hokage of Konoha, took a large gulp of sake directly from the bottle before massaging his temple. Naruto just finished telling him about his rebirth, the voice that was his ancestor, his powers as a shaman, and the large guardian made of fire, ironically named the Spirit of Fire, standing guard outside the Hokage Tower. It was a good thing that he told Dog to tell the shinobi of Konoha that the large flame construct was a friendly and not to be attacked unless provoked. They heeded the Sandaime's words since they had no intentions of facing such a beast. They weren't suicidal, thank you very much. The aged leader watched as his surrogate grandson made a dozen shikigami out of leaves that he harvested from the tree outside the tower. The leaf was surrounded by an almost transparent bubble with a pair of eyes, hands, and legs. They were flying around Naruto as if they were playing, the blonde laughing at their antics. So, let me get this straight. You want to change your name to Asakura Naruto and start a family of shamans in the village, correct? The Sandaime asked his surrogate grandson. Yep. Naruto agreed happily as he tried to poke a shikigami before it danced out of the way. Since I can't become a shinobi, might as well start something different that only I can do right. Fine, that is acceptable. However, is this shaman of yours a bloodline? Naruto tilted his head to the side in confusion, the shikigami beside him doing the same. Bloodline. You remember the story I told you about the clans here in the village? Asked the Sandaime, to which Naruto nodded. They have unique abilities described as a bloodline. The Nara clan's bloodline is their ability to use shadow jutsus, the Hyuga's all-seeing Byakugan, the Inuzuka's affinity towards canines, and so on. The abilities are passed on to their sons and daughters, hence a bloodline. Ah, yes, you can definitely call it a bloodline. I'm quite sure that my kids will have the same powers as me. Granted, they have to be taught the basics and learn the techniques that come with it. But yes, it will be passed on. Naruto told the man before dismissing the shikigami who was annoying him as they tugged at his hair. The leaves fell to the floor as he dispersed the Furioku, giving life to the familiars with a thought. I take it you want your status as a shaman be known in the village. I think it would be hard to make an alibi about my guardian. Naruto deadpanned as he pointed at the window that showed his spirit guardian's face comically peering at them from outside. Speaking of which, is there a way for you to hide, it? The Spirit of Fire is quite happy for being out and about the physical world once again after thousands of years, but if you insist, said Naruto as he sent a mental command to his guardian, causing it to slowly shrink until it became a 2-foot version of itself. It floated into the office before situating itself on top of Naruto's head. Will this do? Yes, that will definitely do, said the aged leader in relief. He knew that the giant's presence was already causing a village-wide panic. Naruto nodded before noticing 2 spirits entering the room. They phased through the wall and stood beside the aged leader, looking at him expectantly. One of them pointed at himself and pointed at wall behind him. Naruto followed the finger to see a picture of the Shadaime and Nadaime Hokage. Ah, Gigi, do you know that there are 2 dead people beside you? Naruto told aged leader, who looked at him in surprise. Can you describe them? Sarutobi asked immediately, not disbelieving the boy's words. After all, it was hard to deny something that happened already. Naruto didn't answer but pointed at the 2 pictures on the wall. Hashirama-sama and Tobirama-sama. The Sandaime breathed out. Are you sure they are here? Yeah. Do you want to talk to them? How? Naruto walked over to Hashirama, who smiled at him. He raised his hand towards the Shadaime spirit as it turned into a ball with a face. He channeled a bit of his Furioku and slammed the ball into his chest. Hi-oi gatai. A burst of Furioku spread out of Naruto before he straightened from his slouch, his face no longer the serene expression that Naruto adopted after his rebirth. This new expression was someone who experienced war, a powerful shinobi with an aura to match. Suru, it's nice to talk to you again after all this years, said the possessed Naruto, the combined voice of the blonde and someone that Sarutobi definitely recognized. Hashirama-sensei. Sarutobi breathed out. How is this possible? As a shaman, Naruto has the ability to allow spirits to possess him as a medium, giving the spirit to interact with the world of the living for a limited period of time. The time I can possess him depends on his energy, but he can end the connection if he wanted. I see. How do you know these things, sensei? Sarutobi asked, unconscious, addressing the Shadaime as he used to when he was part of the man's genin team when the village was created. When I died, I became a part of the world of the dead, where spirits roam. Nothing is hidden from us, so we know about shamans and their abilities. Explained the Shadaime. Naruto is quite a powerful shaman for his age. He will definitely become a powerful asset to this village if given a chance. Sarutobi chuckled. I always have high expectations of Naruto. Even after you found out that he can never be a shinobi due to his inability to use chakra, asked the Shadaime, testing his former student's affection towards the boy he was possessing. Yes, I know that Naruto was depressed when he learned that he can never be a shinobi, but I know that the boy will pull through. He is a very talented lad and I know he will find a way to reach his dreams. Sarutobi said with a smile. In fact, I already came up with a plan to have some of my best shinobi teach him taijutsu. Even if he can't use chakra, he could still attain his dream one way or another. Thank you, Gigi, said Naruto as he momentarily took control of his connection with Hashirama before relinquishing it back to the spirit. So, sensei, what do you want to talk about? I know you have a reason for this intervention. Asked the Sandaime since he knew how his sensei mind worked. He would never resort to this if he didn't have a reason. I do, said Hashirama as his face took a serious look. The village has fallen far, Suru. I don't blame you since you are already old and tired of the wars, and it took its toll on you when the Kyuubi attacked with your successor dying, forcing you to take the mantle of leadership again. However, as your sensei and predecessor, I ask that you fix the problem plaguing this village. Only you can fix it, and it is to Naruto's advantage that you do it as soon as possible. Problem? Sarutobi questioned. You have let the Konoha Council and the elders dictate your decision. When I created the village with Uchiha Madara, the job of the council is to help the Hokage manage the village as its advisors. They advise you, not control your decisions and actions. You are letting your age dictate your actions, Suru. It is time to show the council and elders who the leader is. Are you sure, sensei? Asked a doubtful Sarutobi, showing everyone that despite his experience and abilities, he was still a human underneath. I am sure, Suru. I know that you are already thinking of assigning your student Jiraiya or Tsunade as your successor, but you need to fix this problem first. I have my full trust in your, Suru. I see, said the Sandaime before the fire of determination appeared in his eyes. I will do so at once, sensei. I will correct my mistakes and make you proud. I am already proud of you, Suru, said Hashirama as he smiled at his former student. I need to end this connection now. Despite being a powerful shaman, Naruto is still not used to his powers. He needs to train with them in order to adapt. Farewell, Sarutobi. We will speak again soon if there is need. With that, Hashirama exited Naruto's body before reforming once again. He stood behind his brother, both bowed to him in respect before disappearing from the room to the afterlife. Naruto groaned and almost fell to the floor when the Sandaime's strong arms held him upright. He was led to a chair where he slumped down tiredly. Shadaime-sama was right. My body definitely needs to adapt to my abilities as a shaman. I'm so tired, Naruto managed to say before his eyes slid shut. I think I'll take a nap now, Gigi. The Sandaime could help but chuckle when he heard his surrogate grandson snore. He looked at the guardian spirit on Naruto's lap. You're going to keep an eye on him, I take it? Sarutobi asked the boy's guardian, not expecting a reply. He was surprised when the spirit of fire nodded before studying Naruto's face. The Hokage nodded before calling on trusted Anbu. Dog, he called out as said Anbu materialized in front of him in a puff of smoke and leaves. You called, Hokage-sama. Round up your team. I am calling an emergency council session in 1 hour. I want all the shinobi and civilian council, as well as the elders to attend. Is this about Naruto's newfound powers, Hokage-sama? That and it's fine time that I clean house. Sarutobi said with a glint in his eyes that made dog gulp. Konoha changed overnight. The Konoha Council was called into a meeting along with the elders. The Hokage was hit by a barrage of questions regarding Naruto, a guardian spirit, the death of the mob that tried to kill Naruto, and of course, the destruction caused by Naruto's rebirth. The Sandaime let the salvo continue until he flared his killing intent along with his chakra that practically shut everyone up. The shinobi in the council smirked when they saw the fire in the aged leader's eyes. The elders were nervous while the civilian council almost soiled their pants from the amount of malice the aged leader directed upon them. After their silence, the Hokage lit into them like the proverbial sleeping dragon that was just woken up from its eternal slumber. He reminded the council, especially the civilians, that they were just advisors. Of course, they put up quite a stink but shut their traps when the Hokage ordered his Anbu to throw them in prison for treason if they kept it up. The elders did the same but in a more dignified way but shut up when the Sandaime reminded Koharu and Homura that they were expendable. A threat to removing them from their permission and doing a total audit on their actions shut them up. Danzo, of course, was totally silent during the debacle since he knew that the Sandaime just did a complete 180. This wasn't the meek Hokage they come to know after the Kyuubi attack. No, this was the Sandaime Hokage, the professor, the shinobi no kami who survived 2 great shinobi wars and came out triumphant. He kept his mouth shut but became nervous when he saw the old monkey level him a look that screamed, "I know what you're hiding." He already made a point to clear his schedule since he knew his former teammate would have words with him soon enough. Now that's over and done with, let's get down to the second part of this meeting, announced Sarutobi as he opened the folder on his table. The folder contained a list of Naruto's abilities, simplified for some of the idiot council members to understand. I think many of you are curious about the sudden appearance of the spirit in the village. Everyone nodded though it was Shikaku who started the question. Spirit? He asked with a raised eyebrow causing the Sandaime to nod in affirmative. Yes, a spirit. The giant that you saw was actually a manifestation of Naruto's bloodline. It is called the Spirit of Fire and Naruto's guardian spirit. Are you sure that thing isn't the Kyuubi? Asked one of the idiot council members, recognizing the pink hair belonging to Haruno Sakuya, the leader of the merchants operating in Konoha. You do know that my penalty for mentioning the Biju and Naruto in the same sentence still stands, right? Sarutobi asked rhetorically, causing the paling woman to realize her mistake. I won't have you killed since it is part of this discussion. However, I'll just remind you that the mention of Kyuubi and Naruto in a single sentence, no matter how indirect, outside these walls will rectify that oversight, clear? See clear, Sakuya squeaked out, totally unnerved at the casual way the Sandaime mentioned her death. Good. To answer your question, the Spirit of Fire is not the Kyuubi, said the Sandaime to answer the woman's question. He turned to the Shinobi Council. I think you all know what the Kyuubi's presence feels like. Can you tell me if what you felt of Naruto's guardian when it appeared in the village? I don't feel any malice from Naruto's guardian, Hokage-sama, though I would like to point out that my hive is both in awe and excited of its presence, said Shibi in his usual monotone. Excited? Asked Sum in disbelief. Every dog in the compound was practically on sugar high when it appeared. Excited is definitely a mild term to describe it. All right, Sarutobi stopped the debate before it could form. He wanted to get this done as soon as possible since he has a surrogate grandson to look after in his office. Shibi, please describe why your hive feels excited. Shibi was silent as he communicated with his hive. Ever so slowly, the stoic visage turned to a look of awe and disbelief. It is amazing, Hokage-sama. According to my hive, Naruto's guardian is considered a deity, a power that is similar to that of a god. It is considered a part of nature, or to be more precise, an aspect of nature itself, an embodiment of fire, a living flame from nature itself. My hive told me that they are not afraid of it, in fact, they are falling head over heels to worship the being. God, don't you think that's a bit far-fetched? Asked Inoichi, disbelief lacing his tone. I am only relaying what my hive tells me, Inoichi-san. I said something similar to a god, not an actual one, Shibi said a bit defensively. Sarutobi looked at Hiashi who had a thoughtful look on his face. Anything you would like to share to the council, Hiashi? He asked the stoic Hyuga clan head. I observed Naruto and his guardian as the three of you flew to the tower, Hokage-sama. I can easily say that no chakra was used whatsoever between the two, Hiashi replied. He saw the questioning looks directed at him by his colleagues causing him to explain further. The Byakugan allows me to see both chakra and a person's chakra network. We all know that chakra is a combination of both physical and spiritual energy, correct? Get on with it already, troublesome Hyuga, Shikaku said in a fit of annoyance. As a head of a clan that prized information, he didn't like it when people beat around the bush concerning something so important. If you let me finish then I'll tell you. Hiyashi said in annoyance. To continue, chakra is mostly colored blue and individual affinities tend to change a person's chakra corresponding their elements. Fire is red, water is blue, lightning is purple, and so on. When I used my Byakugan on Naruto, I saw that his coils were flooded with white that is associated with spiritual energy. The guardian spirit is a combination of white and red, spiritual energy and the element of fire. Sarutobi nodded, agreeing with the man's discovery since it coincided with Naruto's explanation of his bloodline. Hiyashi is correct. Naruto's bloodline requires only the spiritual energy of chakra. It manifested when the mob, he spat as he glared at the nervous civilian council, attacked him while under extreme depression when the boy found out that he can't mold chakra. According to Naruto, his ancestor visited him while in a trance and informed him of his abilities as a shaman. Shaman, Sume exclaimed. Did I hear that right? Naruto is a shaman. Yes, he is a shaman according to his ancestor's spirit. Do you have the name of this ancestor? Sume asked immediately, a nervous yet excited hint to her tone. Did Naruto get his name? Sarutobi turned to the folder and confirmed what was written. According to Naruto, the name of the spirit that visited him was Asakura Hao. Shit, I can't believe the old tales were real. Sume exclaimed excitedly, causing everyone to look at her as if she was crazy. What tales? Please share them with us, Sume. Any information, especially history, about this is greatly appreciated. Sume took a deep breath to calm herself down. You all know that my clan is deeply connected to canines, right? She asked the council, causing everyone to nod while Shikaku waved at her to continue. Well, according to Inuzuka lore, before the shinobi world came to be, my ancestors was part of a larger clan that worshipped the spirits, animal spirits to be exact. In the past, shamans roamed the land that was said to be the bridge between the world of the living and the world of the spirits. They had all sorts of abilities that many of us would deem as godly, giving them the power to converse with spirits, allowing the spirits to possess them to communicate with the living, use the spirits as weapons, destroying armies, and healing the sick. Our most ancient of texts described a tournament of sorts held every 500 years millennia ago, though it is no longer in practice when the shamans disappeared from the world. This tournament is fought by various shamans with the winner given the power to wield the ultimate guardian spirit that governed the spirit world, the Great Spirit. So where does this Asakura Hao comes in? Asked one of the council members who had a greedy glint in his eyes. The shinobi council and elders saw it and made a note to keep an eye on the man just in case he made a move on Naruto. They already considered the boy an asset to the village, other than being a Jinchuriki. With his newfound abilities, he was definitely a prize they would protect at all cost. The winner of the last tournament was named Asakura Hao and was said to be the most powerful shaman in the world. If he is the Gaki's ancestor, then he is practically more powerful, if not, on par with Hao. Sume told the council to their shock. She then realized something. Holy shit, I just remembered. The spirit of fire is actually a part of the Great Spirit and embodies the aspect of destruction. The spirit of fire was Hao's guardian spirit due to his power. If it is Naruto's guardian now, then the Gaki is definitely a descendant of Hao. There's no mistaking it. Whispers were being traded as the various council members tried to wrap their minds around the fact that the village pariah, the holder of Kyuubi, was in command of one of the most powerful forces in nature. It was ironic that he has the spirit of fire, considering Konoha's motto of the will of fire. Naruto definitely don't do things by half, doesn't he? Sarutobi said with a chuckle before looking at Sume, who was acting like a fangirl. Sume, is it possible to borrow these history books about shamans if you can spare them? Sume shook her head, shocking everyone for disobeying someone and Inuzuka considers an alpha in the village. I can't lend you the books, Hokage-sama, but I'll be more than happy to make copies for you. I can't part with the original since it is one of our clan's most guarded heirloom. She explained, causing the Hokage to nod in understanding. Understandable. Please have the copies delivered to me as soon as possible, Sume. It would be a great help to Naruto to understand his abilities. What do you mean? I thought he already knows about his abilities. Chusa asked nervously. He does, but only those practiced by his ancestor. However, Naruto was not imparted with the history of shamans, so he needs all the background information he could get his hands on, though I doubt he would need it since he can easily converse with the spirits. You mean he already demonstrated Hyoigatai? Sume asked immediately. Yes, I think that was the technique he used. How come you are familiar with it? Sarutobi asked curiously. It's in the Inuzuka history book, Hokage-sama. Shamans have the ability to see and talk to spirits, but in order for the spirit to interact with the physical world, it is necessary for the shaman to take the spirit into themselves. According to the lore, the technique is called Hyoigatai. Ah, he did say that technique before he was possessed by Hashirama-sensei. What was the general reaction of everyone upon hearing the Shadaime's name? Hashirama-sensei and Tobarama-sensei entered my office according to Naruto. With permission, Naruto used his technique to sync with Hashirama-sensei and we had a little talk. Said the aged leader, his facing showing happiness for being able to speak to one he considered a father figure. Are you sure he wasn't faking it, Hokage-sama? Asked Danzo, though immediately regretted it when Sume and Sarutobi leveled him a glare. He was speaking in Hashirama-sensei's voice. He used a term of endearment that he only uses in private that I'm sure Naruto doesn't know since he has no idea that I can summon Enma. Sarutobi said dryly, annoyed at the fact that Danzo was being his usual paranoid self. You better watch yourself, Danzo. I don't like it when you make a mockery of Naruto-sama. Sume growled, baring her canines at the one-eyed warhawk. Naruto-sama, the Sandame asked the one in amusement, causing Sume to blush. For us in Inuzuka, shamans are revered above everything else. It was a shaman that gave us the ability to form bonds with canines. Since Naruto-sama is a proven shaman, then he has the Inuzuka's respect. The Inuzuka matriarch declared proudly before leveling her full glare at the nervous civilian council. If the civilians attack Naruto-sama again, the Inuzuka clan will be there to make you wish you were never born. This is troublesome, said Shikaku. I vote that we place Uzumaki Naruto under the Shinobi Council's protection under the Konoha Charter. Sarutobi coughed, catching everyone's attention. Before we put that into vote, I would like to inform everyone that Naruto requested for a name change. He wants to change his name to Asakura Naruto in honor of his new status as a shaman and to bring back the legacy of his ancestors. I have no problem with that, said Sume with a feral grin. He couldn't wait to go back to her clan and inform them of this development. Alright, let's put this into vote. All in favor for the name change, please raise your hand. He was surprised when all the Shinobi Council and most of the Civilians Council members raised their hands. Majority wins. From this day forward, Naruto will now be known as Asakura Naruto. Now, the vote for placing Naruto under, the entirety of the Shinobi Council raised their hands, causing the Hokage to smirk. Alright, that answer that question. Hey, we didn't agree with that, said Sakuya angrily. Your view on the matter is not needed, Haruno-san, Shibi said with some heat, causing everyone to look at him incredulously. The Aburame clan wasn't known to display emotions and the clan had just displayed it twice in a row. According to the village charter, only the Shinobi Council can vote when someone is placed under Shinobi protection. Shibi is right. If Naruto is to be placed under Shinobi protection, then only Shinobi can vote, said Inoichi with uncharacteristic smugness. He never liked the Civilian Council since they were trying to undermine the Hokage's rule. This was a flick to their nose and he relished it. That settles it. Naruto will be placed under Shinobi protection from this day onwards. Any attack directed at Naruto will result in the military taking actions against the perpetrators. Sarutobi informed the council, though this was mainly addressed to the civilian side. He was about to continue when Kaharu raised her hand. Yes, Honorable Elder. I would like to pass a motion for Naruto to be placed under the boundaries of the Clan Restoration Act, Kaharu declared. This declaration caused the civilian council to smirk. And why do you propose such a thing, Elder Kaharu? Sarutobi asked with a raised eyebrow. He already expected this to happen and already have a counter in place. We gathered from the revelation that shamans are powerful. If we get Naruto under the CRA, then it would increase the number of shamans in Konoha. This ability of his is considered a bloodline, is it not? Yes, it is considered a bloodline, but placing the boy under CRA at this point in time is not only useless, but also stupid as well, Sarutobi said smugly. I don't find it useless, Kaharu retorted with some heat. Aside from the fact that you are promoting cradle robbing, this caused most the Shinobi Council to snicker, though Sume was laughing her head off. CRA is purely voluntary and only Naruto can request for that before we can put it to vote. If he does, then I don't mind approving it. Fine, Kaharu said with a huff, paling at the idea of being labeled a cradle robber considering her age. Does this mean Asakura-san will be again enrolled in the shinobi program? Danzo asked, using the right honorific for the newly revealed shaman since he didn't want to get on the Inuzuka's bad side. That is his choice though, considering his abilities. I doubt being a shinobi would be his calling. It would only hinder him in that regard. Sarutobi mused. Why do you say that? Asked Danzo in curiosity. Let me put it into perspective. You have here a reborn shaman in command of a powerful guardian entity considered as an aspect of nature that embodies destruction placed in a genin cell. Not only would Konoha be the laughingstock of the elemental nations, it would be overkill to put him with a group that would surely be below him in terms of abilities. Being placed with a team would spark jealousy since Naruto's abilities would definitely overshadow everyone else. Sarutobi pointed out, causing everyone to nod and Danzo to agree. However, if Naruto permits, I will be placing him under a specialized training program and offer him a position in the village. What position is that? Was Danzo's immediately reaction. That is for me to know and for you to find out. Sarutobi said with a grin that infuriated his one-eyed colleague. End of chapter 2.